to My First Joke, the podcast where we dive into the hilarious stories of how comedians got their start. I'm your host, Kareem Kanji. Today, I'm joined by comedian Zul Gulamhusein. Today's episode is brought to you by welcome to travel.ca. If you're looking for the best and most affordable all-inclusive trips for you and your crew, check out welcome to travel.ca today and tell them I sent you. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to My First Joke wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoy what you hear, share it with your friends, leave a review, and hit us up with those 5 stars. All right, let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Zul Gulamhusein. Zul, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
You see how I put like the radio voice on?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's
I saw
so
that.
weird. It's so
Yeah,
weird. Um, Listen, you and I know each other, but for the benefit of others, I'll ask you this first question
yeah,
that I ask everybody. So for the benefit of others, um, why why stand-up comedy? What inspired you? What got you to do this thing?
yeah, man. Pick a thing, like honestly, I want to give you a really nice long answer that has a lot of meaning to it. But to be honest with you, it's just something about the rush of making people laugh and knowing that you've brightened up their day even a little bit in passing, in a joke, in a story, if you've made them laugh. Listen,
Interesting.
first and foremost, I want to represent Flemo, like where I'm from, where I grew up. And in the hood, there's not a lot to laugh about, right?
Okay.
My dad, I'm sure, like many people watching, immigrant parents came from Africa, knew nothing about Canada, got booted out of their country. We were living like kings, and nothing is funny when you go from Africa to Scarborough, Flemo, and your dad's working nights and your mom's worried about bills. And so you become the first stage is every immigrant's first stage is the living room rug. And
Interesting.
so you're
Fair, yeah.
making jokes just to make your mom laugh a little and to make sure that she doesn't have as worried of a night as she has been having. And she
Yeah.
was my first audience member. So I think, if to answer your question in a long-winded way, sorry,
Yeah.
that would be my inspiration. And that's the first reason among many why I got into comedy.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You just got into comedy.
that's right. Yeah. So I just officially got into comedy, like stage
Okay.
comedy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But through our like cultural events and different, like I was always the funny one in the group, and that graduated me to being MC at like several weddings of like family and friends. That graduated me into, by the will and grace of God, hosting World Partnership Walk this year. That graduated me into finally getting the nerve up to go up for like this rookie rumble challenge, not even a year ago. And from then it was a go.
That's really cool. Is
Yeah.
it is so let me ask you this. Um, is there a difference for you, maybe your
Hmm.
feeling or your expectation on going on stage as a comedian? I'm
Hmm.
going to do a comedy act versus any other performance that you've done, whether they be weddings or
Yeah.
hosting an event. Is there, I don't know, a mental difference, a physical difference?
Yeah, I think for me the preparation for a comedy show is way different, because
Okay.
that I have you have a lot of autonomy when it's a comedy show. They're paying money, they're coming to see you. You are the act. You control a lot: ticket sales,
Mm,
marketing, merchandise. But the biggest thing is how much you've practiced and how much you've gone over your material so as to give these people a good time. I feel like when you're a wedding MC or like an MC for like a cultural event, there's so many, you're a cog in the spoke in the wheel, you know,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
sometimes even my most recent my friend had me be an MC for his wedding a couple of months ago, and there are so many things that you can't control, and so you have to pivot. So I'm happy that like there's like a plan B, plan C type thing for those types of events. But as you know, when you go up on stage, if you mess up a joke, like that's it. There's no plan B, plan C. You just have to kind of go with it. So I
Yeah.
think the preparation is a little different, but the outcome, and like once you get on stage, the lights are on, and it's just you and a mic and a room full of people, right? So whether the delivery comes out the same, but the preparation is what I think is different.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Like from so I've done I never thought that there was a connection. This is from how I see it.
Yeah,
From me, I've emceed a few weddings. I've presented at work, on stage, done panels at industry events, but to get on stage without anything, like there's no slides to
yeah,
share, to look at. There's we're not talking about AI in advertising,
that's right.
or you know Ali and Ali are getting married and you're just said, okay, here's
Yeah,
the next speech, or
that's it.
you
That's
know
it. Yeah, yeah,
it's like I've got 5 minutes, I got 10 minutes, I got 15 minutes, and the only thing this audience wants to do is laugh,
yeah,
and I have to make sure that I make them laugh, and that's it. There's
yeah.
nothing else for me to do
That's it. Yeah,
except that, and it was so terrifying
yeah,
to
yeah.
me that it took 40 years to get the nerve to say, I need to get this out of my system,
That's right.
you know?
Yep.
So it's interesting that on your side it was the prep. Zul, I want to ask you this. When you did your first comedy only gig on stage,
Yep.
do you remember your first joke? Whether it was a whether it was a one-liner or whether it was a bit, do you remember your first one?
My I don't know if it's my first one, but my
Yeah.
most constant one that even like that I used to tell in my friend circle. I actually ended my first show with it is a polar bear story, and it
Okay.
it just basically it refers to my mom. And listen, immigrant parents, hanging around with them is like comedic gold. Like I if you anyone you can hang out with your parents for like a month, I promise you, you'll have enough for a special on Netflix tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? And so my mom, it was this story about how my mom mixed up words a lot. Food basics become basic foods. And she told me about how a lawyer that she was working for, this beautiful Jewish lawyer, God bless him, he had recently passed away. And the family wanted me to do the eulogy at the wedding, but they would also like to give me the honor of being a polar bear at the wedding. And I was like, what? What are you talking about, mom? She's like, yeah, polar bear. And I researched this thing and I went back and I wrote the eulogy and I was like, what are you talking about, polar bear? And she's like, the people who carry the caskets. And I was like, mom, do you mean pallbearer? Pallbearer? And she's like, yeah, same thing. I was like, no, 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 it's not the same thing. Like, one carries a casket and the other one's a 3,000 pound endangered species living in the Arctic. Like, you know what I mean? So, but parents, man, God bless them. They're just like a funnel of like comedy gold, like, So yeah, yeah. Shout out to my mom, man. God bless.
That's
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Has your
yeah.
mom heard you tell that joke?
A few times,
Okay.
but funny enough, she likes the egg on. Like she knows a lot of the stories that I have about her, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you didn't say this story about me. You didn't say this story about me."
Interesting.
So next special, it'll come. It'll come.
Interesting. I had to tell my parents not to come to uh one show that I did because I mentioned them in
Yeah,
there from the perspective of um my dad using a belt to hit me if I misbehaved, stuff like that. And I didn't want,
Yeah.
I go, I don't want him to take it the wrong way. He could get
Yep.
sensitive, So I said,
Yep.
it's going to be late. Don't come. Don't worry about it. You come to
Yeah.
the next one,
Yeah.
you know?
That's right.
And I've been told no, I can't make jokes that my wife is in. So,
Yeah.
um, you
Management
know,
disapproves. Yes.
yes, yes,
I
exactly,
100%
exactly.
understand. Yes.
Um, your, I think I know the answer to this because there's a joy that you give off about making people laugh and entertaining people. And so I'm sure that the first time you went on stage and you did a comedy show that you felt awesome about and the audience reacted
Yeah.
very positively. Um, so I'm not going to ask that, and maybe I'm assuming, and tell me if I'm incorrect, but
Yeah.
after that, or instead of that, have you ever come off stage and go, "Oh man, that bombed. I just messed up."
You know what? I don't think, I'm sorry if it sounds like uh, I'm full of myself, but I don't think I've ever bombed.
Yeah,
At least I see, like, I'm still a rookie, like, in the
yeah.
comedic game. And so, knock on wood, I haven't gone into any arenas or open mics where I feel like I've bombed. What I will say is that and I'm sure arts arts-based people, they're very hard on themselves, they're very hard on their
Mm,
craft. And so, like, what I will, like, regurgitate and dissect and go over and over again after the show is when I think a joke would have hit so hard and it crickets, and I'm like,
mm,
oof, okay, back to the drawing board. And so, like,
yeah,
I have a couple of friends who I keep them around, and they're not yes men. Rather, they keep me around. Let's be honest. And they're not yes men, and, like, I'll run a joke by them, and in our little WhatsApp group, and they'll be like, "Nah, don't like it." And here I am thinking, like, this is like the next propelling viral joke, right? So, and my wife as well. She makes sure she knows my image. She knows, like, my niche. She knows that I
yeah,
stay within it. So
yeah,
shout
yeah.
out to my wife, where I have a lot of a great framework and foundation. So yeah,
Okay, okay, that makes sense to me.
yeah.
Um, how does it you wait after you got off stage in your first performance? Um, how did you feel about the audience reaction?
Oh man, that first, I you couldn't. I was on cloud nine. I had
Yeah,
work the next day. I could not go to sleep. I was so amped up. Like 5:30 in the morning, I was just like, wow, like, I actually got on stage, and wow, like, these people actually clapped and, roared for me, and oh, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Like, yeah, I was over the moon. And it was not a long set. It was like a 7 minute, like, trial set. It was this thing called the Rookie Rumble. And there was like 11 people that went up, and I just happened, the producer just told me, like, hey, you came in second. And I after that, it was over. Like, nothing like the rush of that crowd, and nothing like that applause. Oh, cloud nine. Cloud nine.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Um, have you what have you learned? Um, yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything that you've learned in your short while.
Mm,
And I'll tell you this. So here's where I'm coming from. So, um, you and I did this open mic in
yes, yes.
Ajax a couple of weeks ago. And after I got off stage, I go, I said to myself, what the heck did I just do? That
Mm,
made, and to me, I'm thinking, and that was part of a performance I did a couple of months ago that I felt was my best. And then I took a piece of it and did it at this open mic, and I'm going, I did something totally wrong there. I didn't feel good about it. Now, granted, it wasn't a huge crowd,
hmm.
but I said, like, to me, myself, you said, sometimes we're hard on ourselves.
Yep.
But I was like, there's something that didn't click for me. And I realized the lesson that I learned is I need to continually write.
Mm,
Because if I'm not writing and if I don't go and do an open mic, at least with my schedule at least once a week, then I'm not going to be in that zone, in that mode. It's
That's a
like,
fair assessment.
it's like the reason in sports they have spring training in baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or preseason is to get your rhythm going,
Yep.
right? Is to learn how to, run to first base and round first base, the timing with the swing. And I felt the same way that there was a bunch off for
Fair.
me because I went on vacation. I didn't go to anything, up until then. And I thought I could just, over the top of my head, just do the same thing. And it didn't
Mm.
work. So it was a lesson for me. Sorry, I took too much time explaining that to
No,
you.
no.
So I'm curious, Zul.
Yeah.
Um, have you learned anything about stand up or about yourself or anything like that?
So I will say what I've learned, and it's not that I've learned it through being a stand-up comedian thus far, but
Hmm.
what it's solidified for me is
Mm.
that you could be the juiciest, ripest peach in the world, and there's still people who hate peaches. You know what I mean? And so what I mean by that is that obviously comedy and like everyone has a different funny bone, and comedy is subjective, right?
Yeah.
So you could kill it in one arena and avenue, and there'll be crickets in the next, right? And so I think a lot of what I've learned, especially doing this tour that I'm doing, the Don't Lie, You Were Thinking It Too tour. I think what I've learned the most with this is that you have to do your research, right?
Mm.
Your practice and your delivery and the cadence and whatnot, all of that is fine and dandy, but you have to do your research. And I'll
What do you
give
mean
you an
by that?
example.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll give you an example. So recently, I just came back from Vancouver and doing a show in Vancouver, right? Uh, the the theater that I wanted to do it at ended up being part of City Hall, and I didn't know that, right? And whereas if like the comedy bar has a specific like niche comedy audience, this theater was attached to a public school library, right? So I can't really walk in there and be like, "Hey, little boy or girl, you want to hear some jokes?" Like I'll walk out with handcuffs, like you know what I mean? So it's about doing your research, and like I've gone and met many a producer, many a club owner throughout this year, and it's I love the comedy aspect, but like just the tension of the background of ticketing and merchandise and marketing and sales, and it's a lot that goes into it that the general public doesn't see. And to be honest, I'm happy that they don't see it because they come just for the end product, and the fact
Yeah.
that they don't know what uh, is all here makes me happy because they're coming just to see this face, and I'm making them laugh, and they go on, and everyone has problems. Life is made of problems. And the fact that they're coming to see me and giving me the responsibility of easing their tension and easing their problem, making them forget about their problems. My first bit in my set is give me your problems for the next hour, right? Because you're coming to see me to laugh, to forget about your problems. It's a movie. So I think that's what I've learned is that there's a big onus on me to do my background and my research so as to put on the best performance in the end.
That is awesome, Zol.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, if people want to keep up with what you're doing, where you might be performing, um, and all of that stuff, where's the best place they can keep up to date with all things Zul Gulamhusein?
So I haven't, like we've mentioned, I'm a newbie comic, and so like I don't have a website. I don't have, but I do have social media. I don't have YouTube. My social media Instagram handle is at the minor inconveniences guy. Sorry, it's a very long handle, but one
I'll
of
put a
my
link to
shtick,
it. I'll put a
yeah,
link to
yeah,
it.
please do, please do. One of my stick niches is, how as we grow older, we start wishing minor inconveniences on people, right? We don't wish
I
them
like that
death
bit.
or
Yeah.
harm, no ill will, just a little, minute thing that'll ruin your day a little bit, right? Like that's where I'm at in my level of petty in life, like, you know? And so I wish you a minor inconvenience, right? So that's part of my set. So when I solidified my first set, I knew that I needed a catchy handle, and I literally got Instagram the day after my first show at the comedy bar. And that was in November. And because somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, like I want to follow you on social media," and I was like, "I don't have social media," and so they were like, "You should get it." So that's how it was born at that time, at the Minor Inconveniences guy.
Awesome, Zul. Listen,
Yeah,
thanks everybody for tuning in to
thank
this
you.
episode of My First Joke. Zul, thank you, man. Um, I hope everyone had as much fun listening as I had chatting with you. But listen, if you guys enjoyed the show, subscribe to My First Joke wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Share it with your friends. Take a moment to rate, review 5-star the podcast. I got a kid going to university. This thing goes huge. I can pay it off without taking
We're
loans.
retiring. We're
There
retiring.
you go. My
Yeah.
website is myfirstjoke.ca. I am Kareem Kanji. Until next time, remember.
Remember, when life pushes you to your knees, you're in a perfect position to pray.
Whoa, I thought they were going to go somewhere else. Okay.
I know. I know. That's what comedians do. You
There
make it
you
and
go.
then you go left. Like, you know? Yeah.
Thank you,
God
Zul.
bless, man. Thank you so much.